welcome back to another video. My name's Rick and my aim is to help you realize the truth that feeling great is your natural state. So today I want to talk about basically how it began in terms of my spiritual awakening, and it happened in a very, I suppose, gradual way. It wasn't very black or white. It wasn't a sudden huzzah moment, but it was a gradual process and it took a while. And I'm going to try and make it as relatable as I can. So my aim is that you'll be able to take some value away from it. Maybe you can see something similar which is happening or happened in your own life, and this might give you some perspective as well. Anyway, for me, before the spiritual awakening could ever happen, or before it happened, I had to go to a really dark place. It's just a place of verging on despair, grief, fear, and just a whole host of negative emotions. So basically what it was I was in the latter half of my pre-reg year as an optometrist, and I think it was just a result of just limiting self-beliefs, stresses at work, which I wasn't addressing, and then also just not taking care of myself the way that I should have done. And I wasn't really aware of this. I just had slipped into autopilot. So what happened was, stress was accumulating to the point where it started to manifest as severe stomach pains, sleeplessness, and just severe mood irritability. It was not nice, and I'm sure you can relate, because stress, anxiety, depression, all those negative states of mind and emotions, they're at an all-time high, particularly in the West, and they have been rising steadily over the last number of decades, not least of all in recent times due to the current thing which is going on in the world right now. But I never really experienced severe or chronic stress before, and this was quite new to me. The stomach pains were a real, pain, funnily enough, but they were a telltale sign, they were a warning sign, and nothing really seemed to remedy them. I took paracetamol, painkillers obviously, milk and magnesia to fix an upset stomach. I tried Rennies as well, the antacids to help, because I would occasionally get acid reflux, although I haven't had that for over a year now. Is that a coincidence? Anyway, the stomach pains were quite relentless, and they could last from several minutes to several hours. So I kept a record of them, and they came every day for about 2 weeks or so, and it was really starting to get quite bleak. And I didn't even go to the doctor about it because, well, in hindsight, I can't think of a reason why I didn't go. I thought it was something that I could handle myself, and ultimately it was something that I could handle myself, but I'm not saying you should not go to the doctor if you feel you should go. Personally, I just never really go to the doctor because, well, apart from that stressful period, I've never had any health problems really, other than one other problem which I talked about before, but that was like a mystery illness. It was a flu, but I'll make another video about that. But other than that, I've never had any health problems, thankfully. Anyway, back on track. It was about 2 weeks or so having stomach pains that my country went into lockdown, basically, and that was due to the current event that was beginning to transpire in the world. This would have been around March or so in 2020, and it was also around that time that I had happened to inadvertently stumble upon a man called Wim Hof, also known as the Iceman. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's an absolutely fantastic source of inspiration, motivation, enlightenment, wisdom, just an all-around fantastic human being. And very briefly about him, he's obviously known as the Iceman, and he at one point held 26 world records. He ran up Mount Everest in his shorts, Mount Kilimanjaro in his shorts. He ran a marathon in just his shorts in minus 20 degrees C. And then he also ran a marathon in a desert somewhere without stopping for water. Absolutely insane. He also has a world record for the longest time in an ice bath. I think it's about 1 hour, 56 minutes and 13 seconds, something like that there. Anyway, complete and utter inspiration. I came upon him on, it was Joe Rogan actually, and it piqued my interest. So it was around the time where lockdown happened and I was getting these crippling stomach pains, and lockdown almost was like a blessing because I didn't have to go into work and I could essentially just lie on the sofa, lie in bed and just take it easy. And it was during that time that as soon as I left work, because we were all closed, we were furloughed, all the staff were furloughed, which basically means the government pays your salary, for better or worse. Anyway, as soon as lockdown started, I began practicing the Wim Hof Method, which is the method obviously that Wim has developed, and it has 3 core elements or pillars: cold exposure, breathing, and mindset. So the breathing is a very unusual routine in that it involves forced hyperventilation. I'm not going to go into too much detail now because I've made another video about this before, which I will link in the description below. But the second pillar is cold exposure, which is, I would consider it to be a training regime for the body, basically for the body's vessels, the vasculature system. And then thirdly, there is mindset, and that is you have to develop a tough mindset in order to do the method. And then of course you work in meditation as well. You don't have to, you inadvertently work in meditation as well, and that is able to silence the mind, calm the mind. Some say it calms the mind, others say it just brings you straight into the present, which is all very similar. Anyway, the point is it brings a calmness and a serenity and a stillness to the mind. So it wasn't long into doing this method when I felt myself change. I felt myself, it was almost as if I was being reborn, and that's not an understatement. Stress melted away in a way that I had never experienced before. I felt as if I was forging my own armor, which was protecting me from stressors of the world. So it was funny because around this time, stress levels everywhere were rising significantly with the thing that's going on in the world today, and obviously stress levels are still at an all-time high, but people were getting really stressed around this point. But I felt myself going the other way because I did it every day. I did the breathing, I did the cold exposure in the form of cold baths at the start, and then I eventually moved on to ice baths. Cold baths slash ice baths, and then I moved on to cold showers. And then I incorporated the meditation into the breathing routine as well. And all of this coupled together, it really seemed to calm me. If I was saying, if my stress levels and anxiety were, let's say, like a 10 out of 10, let's say, they weren't that bad, I would have thought, compared to maybe other people, but if they were a 10, just after 1 to 2 weeks of doing this method, they were down to a 1 or a 2. Things could still bother you. They could still bother me. But they washed off very quickly. They just washed away. There might be little dings appearing in my newfound armor, but they would almost buff out themselves automatically. So it's not an understatement or an overstatement to say that this method completely and utterly changed my life in so many ways. But there was another thing I did as well, and that was around the same time I started doing gratitude exercises, and I was following a book called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, which is part of the Secret series. So The Secret is the first book, The Power is the second book, The Magic is the third, and then The Hero is the fourth, and there's You and Now, the Greatest Secret. Anyway, that added to the Wim Hof Method really helped me transform my perspective, the perspective I had for myself, for my life, and everyone around me. Daily gratitude exercises make you appreciate what it is you have, and gratitude, I view it as a muscle which can be strengthened and developed like any other muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets, the more intense the feelings of gratitude that you experience. So, as for the stomach pains, they disappeared within 1 to 2 weeks. I can't say it was completely due to the Wim Hof Method, or completely due to the gratitude exercises. It could be a combination of both. But what I can say is, this new routine, from the cold exposure, the breathing, the strengthened mindset with meditation along with gratitude, they are fantastically powerful ingredients in their own right, and whenever they're added together, they multiply. It's not like they're just added together, but they do multiply. It's like in Dragon Ball Z, the all-time greatest anime of all time, whenever two characters fused, such as Goku and Vegeta, they didn't add their strengths together, but they were multiplied tens of times over. And that's how it feels with these tools: meditation, cold exposure, breathing, hyperventilated breathing, and gratitude. Completely and utterly life-changing. So I couldn't recommend it enough. If you could pick only one, do gratitude exercises, buy The Magic, because it costs you nothing except the price of the book. You do them every day, spend a few minutes every day, and it just makes you so much more appreciative of everything you have in life, and then you attract more of what you're appreciative for, and everything just gets better. But as for the Wim Hof method, it's much more physical. There's very much a physical element to it. And it is unpleasant getting into a cold shower or turning your warm shower down to cold. But to do that alone requires a mental fortitude. So if you do that once, you've already improved so much. And to do it over and over and over again, you'll eventually form a habit. A habit forms not over time, but through frequency. So what I mean by that is, the more you do something, the more likely it is to be a habit. If you went, let's see, if you did push-ups 1 day a week for the whole year, that would be 52 times a year you did push-ups. If you did push-ups 3 times a week for every week of the year, that would be 156 sessions of push-ups. It would be much quicker forming a habit, or the habit will be formed much quicker doing it 3 times a week, because it's a habituation. You're doing it more, the frequency is there. You're reprogramming your brain quicker. Same thing with this method here. I've been doing it for almost a year now, every day, and it's now become a habit of my everyday life. And looking back to the time before I did it, it's like chalk and cheese. Genuinely can't compare. I have got much more energy. I'm much calmer all the time. I don't react to the things which would have annoyed me before the way I would have used to. My sinuses are clear, actually, and that's one of the side effects or benefits of the breathing, due to nitric oxide being released in the nasal passageway. I breathe much more deeply generally throughout the day now. I feel a lot more clear in the head. My hair is actually, it's healthier. It seems to be thicker and brighter, less dry, less oily, if it was before. And my skin feels cleaner as well, because, if you're not using hot water, you're preserving the natural oils in your skin and hair, so that one's very easy to explain. But everything just has completely changed from doing, certainly, the Wim Hof method. And then I'm a much happier person as well, which is probably due to the gratitude exercises as well. So, do I recommend them? All the above? Yes. 100 yeses. Anyway, so that's enough rambling for me today. Hope you gained some degree of value from this. And as always, please comment away in the comment section if you have any questions, thoughts, or anything else. And as always, please, all the best and take care.